Hello and welcome to Devotion to Writing, a channel devoted to helping you cultivate a daily writing practice and realize you are creative abundance. I came across this quote by Barry Lopez the other day, and I wanted to share it with you because it's a reminder for me of our obligations as writers, and that's not to put pressure on you as a writer, especially if you're just getting started. I don't mean to put pressure on you by giving you another obligation, but it's really about our relationship to story, to poems, to the things that are moving through us. It's our obligation as being alive, as beings, as being creative. And in this case, it applies to writing and to taking care of the stories, to the poems, to the material that is coming through us and to us. So this is the quote from Barry Lopez. If you don't know Barry Lopez, he's a really wonderful writer, particularly about nature. He writes really, really deeply about nature, natural subjects. So Barry Lopez, if you're not familiar with him. He writes, "I would ask you to remember only this one thing. The stories people tell have a way of taking care of them. If stories come for you, care for them, and learn to give them away when they are needed. Sometimes a person needs a story more than food to stay alive. That is why we put these stories in each other's memory. This is how people care for themselves. One day you will be good storytellers. Never forget these obligations." One day you will be good storytellers. Never forget these obligations. We are really wonderful storytellers already. We can learn to be better storytellers perhaps on the page through the exercise of writing. This is something that we can learn. We can learn techniques, we can learn craft, we can learn about our voice. What is our voice? Find our voice, find our characters, and find the stories we want to tell. But all of us, as I've said in some recent previous videos, all of us are naturally gifted storytellers. If I were to ask you, as I've mentioned before, if I could ask you, tell me about your day, you could instantly launch into a story, organize it, the details, the important ones, sift through them, and tell me a compelling story. It's just what we do. And that doesn't change when we get to the page. We change in our approach, but the storytelling act doesn't necessarily change when we get to the page. So that's one thing, but the deeper thing here that I want to draw your attention to about story is that the stories people tell have a way of taking care of them. That's one thing. I love this idea that our stories have a way of taking care of us. I feel about my own work, my own stories and poetry, even the images that I create as a photographer, they have a way of taking care of me. There's something in the engagement, in the relationship with what I make that is a way of evolving me, of creating me, of nurturing me with beauty, with wonder, with answers to things I didn't even realize I was exploring. So that stories have a way of taking care of us. The stories people tell have a way of taking care of them. Beautiful. They're also healing, the stories that we tell ourselves. Not just the stories we write, but the stories we tell ourselves. And I always say the practice of writing is really a practice of paying attention to what we're saying. It can also be what we're saying in our heads all the time, to paying attention to our thoughts, to the stories, to the narrative that we have constructed around our lives and asking, is it true? Is it true? Life is horrible. Is it true? Life is hard. Is it true? Right? Asking these stories. And if we don't like the answer, we can change the story. This is how powerful we are. We can change the narrative. We choose how to see. We choose the words that we put on top of the story. There's no story out there about us that we're being handed, although we may believe stories that we're given, but there's no actual story. We're the ones who put the words on it and narrate it. So we are in control of that. If stories come to you, Barry Lopez continues, if stories come to you, care for them. Care for them and learn to give them away when they are needed. This idea of caring for our creations, to what comes for us, I mean, maybe we take it for granted. I know I certainly have at times in my life, but think you're getting these treasures. They're coming to you specifically, not to someone else. Although I do think that if we don't take what is coming from the universe, it's going to go somewhere else and look for a way into the material, into the world. We're just channels. We're just one vessel for things that want to come through. Also, we are personal vessels for things that only we, through our own histories, our own experiences, are able to articulate. Maybe it has sought you, a story has sought you out. This might require a leap of faith or belief for you, but follow me. Perhaps a story, an image, an idea, a work of art, a poem has sought you out specifically in order to manifest, in order to be. That you are its private creator. Consider that. Care for them. Care for your creations. Care for them. They're fragile. They have no substance except when they come through you. You give them a piece of you in order to be onto the page, in order to land on the page. You clothe them. You give them shape, form, right? Order. You give them music, and you bring them into the world. You carry your stories. And then sometimes a person needs a story more than food to stay alive. And I think we all can understand this, that sometimes we have a friend, or maybe it's even ourselves. Food isn't going to fill what we need. It's not going to fill that emptiness that we're feeling, that we're experiencing about life or a loss. Or our friend is feeling about their life or a loss. And yet we can tell them a story. We give them a story of our own experience or something we've created, and it fills that hole, that emptiness. It nourishes that which food could not nourish. It is something spirit. It is something of the spirit. So this is the obligation that Lopez is talking about, the obligation to be cared for by the stories, to accept them and be cared for by what comes to us, and to similarly or simultaneously to care for what comes, to nurture the things that come to us, and to give them shape, give them form, and put them on the page. This requires our time. It requires our effort. It requires us to be patient. It requires us to sit with things and let them incubate for a long time, to let them live in us, to live with them. This is the devotion. This is the practice. And this is really what writing is. In another video that I have, that I'll have in a couple of days, it's writing is like walking. It is made one step at a time, at that pace, at the pace of a slow walk. And our creations evolve, and they come out of that slow walk that we take with ourselves, with carrying these stories, these poems, these objects, these ideas, these inklings, these questions. We take a slow walk with them. We live with them. This is the abundance of creativity. This is our obligation, but it is also what has fulfilled me with this wonder. Like, wow, I get to walk with all of these things. I get to find out what they are, who they are, what they want. And in return, I get to find out more about who I am, what I am, the joy, the awe, the reverence, etc., etc. Devotion is the practice. It is the vehicle that takes us along on our journey. So, did I have a prompt for you from this? What stories are you taking care of? What stories are you caring for? What story do you care for? Let that be the prompt today, and see what you can get out of this prompt. So I thank you very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you do, if you'd like to receive other tips on cultivating a daily writing practice. That is why I do this. That is why I make these. And I'd love to get your feedback. I'd love to know if it's helped you write, and I'd love to see some of your writing if you care to share that. So I hope you write deeply today. I know that if you do write, you will write beautifully, because beautiful is what you are. Blessings.